everyone. Thank you for watching eXchangily YouTube channel. Today is May 12th, Tuesday, 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. And very fortunate we have Kerin, the former CEO of Chicago Stock Exchange with us today. So I'm going to do an interview with him, and AMA ask me anything, and hopefully John can get ready, right? John, are you ready for that?
I am ready. Ask me anything.
Great.
Hi, Dora. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, good.
Good. So I'm going to introduce briefly about John's career, and for the past 30 years, and he is working in the regulation field and is an expert, and his career path at Chicago Stock Exchange, and has been a CTO, COO, then the last 4 years, past 4 years as CEO. So he is a very knowledgeable and intelligent person, and has his MBA and his bachelor in electrical engineering, and has worked in the financial field for the last 30 years. So John, I really thrilled to have you today, and I would like to start to ask you some tough questions.
Sure.
Okay. So my first question is, since you are working in the regulation field for the last 30 years, and you also the principal and the CEO of the Chicago Stock Exchange, so I truly believe that you have expertise that on the regulation. So how important for you, in your opinion, it is important, how important it is for the cryptocurrency exchanges to follow the law, the security laws?
So both for cryptocurrencies and digital asset exchanges in general, it's there's a real need there for regulation. There's a gap I believe investors are taking advantage of as a result of that, and it's important that this space evolve to a regulated state, which is also why I was interested in eXchangily. They are committed to moving their operation is into that regulated space.
Great. Yeah. So, for the experience you had working as a traditional broker dealer, and it's important, I think, for the current cryptocurrency exchanges, they follow the laws, just like you said. But what's the differences? Do you think there should be different laws, to regulate the newer cryptocurrency exchanges than the traditional broker dealers?
So the core principles remain the same, whether it's in the digital asset or crypto space or the traditional world. We need to ensure AML and KYC, anti-money laundering and know your customer laws to ensure that no nefarious activity is taking place, and we need to do our part to validate who these customers are. The second piece is I'll put in the category of market manipulation, and eXchangily is committed to addressing this as well, and that we minimize self-trading, layering, spoofing, information leakage, trading ahead. So we are actively working to put those controls in place. And the third leg is the investor protection area, whereby the custodial issues that arise with a typical centralized exchange, by surrendering your private key to that centralized exchange, investors are subject or exposed to those centralized exchanges going out of business, and with them leaving with the investor's private key and their assets. And with eXchangily, that is architected so that risk is mitigated in the sense that an investor never surrenders their private key to one entity, and the act of pairing off buyer and seller is distributed across a field of miners, and there are over 5,000 miners. So you're not dependent on any one centralized entity, and the risk of them failing is largely mitigated. So from an investor protection perspective, that custodial issue is addressed by a decentralized exchange.
Great points. So for the, you just mentioned the custodial reliabilities. So do you think for, on the regulation side, it should be different between the centralized exchange and decentralized exchange? They should, apply different laws because of that, because the custodial issue. Do you personally have comments on that?
Well, in terms of approval by regulators, the fact that the custodial issue has been addressed, that should go a long way to ease the concerns of regulators, in that the investor is not placing their assets with one entity that has the potential to walk away with your private keys and your assets.
Okay, great. I wonder, in your opinion, right now the cryptocurrency, the Bitcoin price, getting really high, $10,000 hitting. So over the history, has been the highest point was $20,000. From a few years ago, it's only a few dollars. So, cryptocurrency and the blockchain technology is really grown over the years. What do you see the future on the cryptocurrency exchanges?
Well, I see, obviously this requires SEC approval, but rather than just purely cryptocurrencies, which are regulated by the CFTC, the SEC at some point, I see them approving and regulating digital assets, and I just see that area growing. There's a lot of pent-up demand. It will happen one way or another. If it doesn't happen here, it will happen outside of the United States, and I believe it's just a matter of time before it's more widely embraced within this country.
Great. So you just recently joined the eXchangily team as a principal and as a partner. We are very excited. So could you please tell us a little more about, why you joined eXchangily?
I joined eXchangily.
You had a lot of invitations from other cryptocurrency exchanges. There are a lot of people invited you to join their team. So why eXchangily?
I joined eXchangily because of your commitment to move into to be regulated and to embrace regulation wherever possible, and address a lot of these concerns in the digital space that have already been addressed in the traditional markets. As I said, the KYC, AML, the market manipulation, the custodial issues that are very important. The model appears to be a sound and solid model, and I'm looking forward to continuing my work with eXchangily.
Great. Thank you so much, John. And thank you everyone for taking your time to watch this video. And this is Dora Tang, the CEO from eXchangily. And we're interviewing with John Kerin, the former CEO of Chicago Stock Exchange. And thank you. We'll see you next time. Thank you, John, for your time. Take care.
Thank you, Dora. Bye-bye.
Bye.